One person who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent.
He would do a lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like,
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
The instant Diddy spotted 50 Cent entering the courtroom, his expression betrayed everything. Eyes wide, jaw tight, hands trembling discreetly beneath the table. Gone was the calm, unflappable music mogul the world had known for years. By the third day of the trial, witnesses noted that Diddy had completely unraveled, especially after 50 Cent openly declared his backing of Cassie. What unfolded immediately afterwards stunned everyone present and threatened to alter the entire course of the case.
Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leads.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like he says something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like we need to party. What is he talking about? That's the kind of stuff that when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no. Take me. That's what a guy says to him.
Do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of this participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day?
I'm just not with all that flicky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or no.
Sean Diddy Combs has spent 3 decades meticulously crafting an empire built on controlling his image. For years, we've seen him glide down red carpets with a flawless smile, breeze through tough interviews without so much as a flinch, and handle public scandals with an unshakable calm. His reputation? That of a composed, untouchable music mogul who never loses his cool. Remember that 2017 interview when a reporter pressed him about rumors of hush money paid to former employees? Diddy just smiled, adjusted his suit jacket, and smoothly steered the conversation elsewhere. Not even a flicker of discomfort. Or the 2012 flop of his restaurant venture, when he showed up at the closing night party like it was all part of some grand strategy. That's classic Diddy, never letting anyone see a crack in his armor. Behind the scenes, his team worked tirelessly to maintain this impeccable image. Insiders say he employs a dozen people solely dedicated to managing his public persona. From rehearsed answers to carefully practiced expressions, everything he shows the public is calculated. A former assistant confided that Diddy would spend hours rehearsing responses in front of a mirror before any TV appearance. He even kept a media coach on standby to throw unexpected challenges at him, testing his ability to stay unshaken. But behind those signature sunglasses, whispers of a very different Diddy have circulated for years. There were 2 Diddys. A former Bad Boy Records employee shared off the record. The smooth, polished figure everyone saw in public, and the furious man who would hurl phones against the wall when things went sideways. Yet these stories rarely gained traction because no one with real clout ever confirmed them. The first cracks in Diddy's flawless facade appeared just days before the trial began. Photographers caught him snapping at a fan outside his lawyer's office, and at a tense pre-trial press conference, he gripped the podium so tightly his knuckles turned white. Small details, but significant for a man who has poured millions into controlling his image. PR expert Tanya Rodriguez explained how these personas work. Celebrities build them like impenetrable fortress walls. But under enough strain, those walls begin to crumble, and once they start to crack, the entire facade can come tumbling down. That's exactly what witnesses say happened on day 3 of the trial. Court reporter Marcus Jenkins described Diddy visibly trembling as key evidence was introduced. His leg bounced so violently the defense table shook. Jenkins noted Diddy interrupted his own lawyer multiple times, his voice rising until the judge finally stepped in. The breaking point came when Diddy suddenly shouted during testimony, prompting Judge Harmon to warn him that one more outburst would lead to contempt charges. Witnesses said his face twisted in a rage the public had never seen in 3 decades of fame. Just when it seemed Diddy might regain his composure, the courtroom doors swung open. and in walked someone who changed everything. The one person Diddy never expected to see standing with his accuser, his longtime industry rival, 50 Cent. With a history of grudges and the resources to make life difficult, 50 Cent's arrival turned Diddy's world upside down. Witnesses say the moment 50 Yowens. Cent entered the room, Diddy's complexion drained completely, the impenetrable mogul reduced to pale silence.
But it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
Tell him
that he was Diddy's boy toy.
Oh, shit.
Right?
Wait, so this is...
So Charlamagne said...
It's not true, but I told after he brought up this stuff with you, I said, you know what 50 gonna say when he meets you?
Oh, no, I don't know that was going on.
You know...
I can't wait to run into him again.
See, what you gonna say to him, Phil?
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
You know what 50 gonna say to you when he sees you.
What?
I heard Diddy touch the butt.
Yeah. Wait till I see him. Wait till I see him. I'm like, yo.
I've been with Puffy. I know you're not really tapped in, but what is
the last thing I saw was like a guy there. He was like, he sounded like me. I was like, yo, look. I could find other things to do for money.
The feud between 50 Cent and Diddy stretches back nearly 20 years, and it's never been just casual dislike. Since the early 2000s, these two have actively targeted each other, turning their rivalry into one of the most intense in hip-hop history. 50 Cent has never held back, calling out Diddy on radio shows, in interviews, and especially on social media. From accusing him of having knowledge about Biggie's murder to publicly questioning his sexuality, this wasn't mere rap drama. It was deeply personal. So when 50 Cent strode into the courtroom on day 3, dressed sharp in a tailored black suit and his trademark sunglasses, the atmosphere shifted instantly. Court reporter Janelle Martin described the silence as so thick that the faint buzz of phones vibrating could be heard. Diddy, who had been quietly consulting with his lawyer, froze mid-conversation, snapping his head up. Witnesses reported his face morphing from confusion to shock, then settling into what looked like genuine fear. No one expected 50 to make a physical appearance. Though he'd been relentlessly trolling Diddy online since Cassie filed her lawsuit, including posting a hotel surveillance video from 2016, allegedly showing Diddy assaulting Cassie, captioned, "Money can't hide who you really are," the courtroom was unprepared for the real-life confrontation. That video alone racked up over 12 million views. Following that, 50 dropped a series of Instagram posts hinting at even more damaging evidence. What most people didn't know was that 50 had been in contact with Cassie's legal team for weeks. According to a source close to the case, his representatives reached out shortly after the lawsuit was filed, expressing belief in Cassie's story and offering to assist however possible. The source added that 50 has always been a strategist, playing the long game when it comes to his enemies. As 50 took his seat in the back of the courtroom, the energy in the room palpably shifted. Every eye flicked between him and Diddy like spectators at a tense tennis match. Though Diddy tried to focus on his lawyer's notes, courtroom sketches reveal he kept glancing over his shoulder. Then came the bombshell. During the lunch recess, 50 stepped outside to face a swarm of reporters. He didn't just voice support for Cassie. He announced he was personally funding additional legal aid for her case through his Gunnity Foundation. "I'm putting money behind making sure survivors get heard," he told the press. "I'm here to help more women come forward with their stories about powerful men in this industry. This isn't about me and Diddy's past. It's about right and wrong." Inside the courtroom, word of this support hit Diddy like a lightning bolt. Witnesses say he slammed his fist down on the defense table so hard his water glass tipped over. His lawyer tried to soothe him, but Diddy was visibly shaking, and court security moved closer to keep an eye on the situation. The timing couldn't have been worse. Just as tensions peaked, the prosecution announced they were ready to present new evidence, material they claimed would prove Diddy had lied under oath. What played on the courtroom screens next stunned everyone present, leaving no one prepared for what came next.
A lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit, like hating on, like doing things with people I'd done business with that he'd done business with. He would say shit that like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and niggas don't know what they like till they see somebody with it. So they want the girls after you're done with them and shit.
Yeah, leftovers.
Yeah.
You take your leftovers. A lot of niggas have my leftovers.
Offended by
Wow, they found Kendrick and Wifey.
That's you know, that's obviously doing shopping. They got the same outfit.
Yeah, it's true.
In public.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt. Though. It's a nice shirt. All right, so when he said the shopping line,
let me get away from him. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know, maybe I'll take you shopping and I get you some flash and you could give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the wedding. I always say to myself, like,
it was someone's wedding?
It was Chris Lighty's wedding. It was in Miami. Nori's there. Nori knows this because I looked at him like, yo.
The courtroom was already buzzing with electric tension after 50 Cent's unexpected entrance. You could almost feel the charged atmosphere as everyone held their breath waiting for the next move. The prosecution team wore that unmistakable look, confident, almost smug, as if they were moments away from dropping a bombshell. Your Honor, we would like to introduce evidence. Item 47B, the lead prosecutor announced. The defense team looked visibly puzzled. According to a source inside the courtroom, Diddy's lead attorney immediately stood, objecting. Your Honor, we have not received any evidence labeled 47B in discovery. That's when the room realized something unusual was unfolding. The Waitai judge called both legal teams to the bench for a private, intense discussion that lasted nearly 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Diddy sat alone at the defense table, repeatedly glancing back at 50 Cent, who remained unmoving in the back row. A courtroom artist later shared a detail she noticed. Diddy began cracking his knuckles, one by one, a subtle but clear sign of his growing anxiety, something she had never seen him do before tension escalated. When the attorneys returned to their seats, Diddy's lawyer wore a defeated expression. The judge addressed the jury. The court will allow this evidence, as it was only discovered yesterday. The prosecutor then revealed they had obtained security footage from Diddy's Miami residence dated April 2018. The courtroom screens flickered to life, and everything changed. The grainy video showed what appeared to be Diddy and Cassie in a hallway. Though the footage was silent, the body language spoke volumes. Diddy was pointing and yelling, cornering Cassie against the wall. Then came the moment that made the courtroom audibly gasp. The video showed Diddy grabbing Cassie's shoulders, shaking her violently before forcefully pushing her to the floor. Diddy's reaction was immediate and dramatic. He leapt to his feet so quickly his chair toppled backward. "That's not what happened!" he shouted, before his attorney physically pulled him back down. His lawyer hurriedly whispered in his ear, but Diddy's face had changed. His eyes were wide, breathing heavy and uneven. A court officer moved closer to the defense table, sensing the rising tension. What made this footage so devastating wasn't just the visuals. It was the direct contradiction to Diddy's sworn testimony just the day before. He had explicitly stated, "I have never in any instance physically assaulted Ms. Ventura or any woman." He had even insisted, "There are no videos or evidence of such behavior because it never occurred." As the prosecutor pointed out these glaring contradictions, Diddy's carefully maintained composure shattered. He shook his head repeatedly, muttering under his breath, and at one point bowed his head down onto the table. His attorney requested a brief recess, but the judge denied it sternly, saying, "We will continue with the proceedings. Mr. Combs needs to maintain his composure." Later, the bailiff told reporters he'd never witnessed a defendant's demeanor shift so dramatically within a single court session. "It was like watching someone transform before your eyes," he said. As the day wrapped up, the explosive, new evidence sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Texts flew furiously between celebrity circles, allegiances were questioned, and sides were quickly drawn. The carefully constructed wall of silence protecting Diddy's reputation began to crumble just as rapidly as his composure had in that courtroom. No one could have predicted how swiftly even his closest, most famous allies would start to distance themselves, abandoning ship one by one.
You being the only one calling this out?
I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
They say you're a hater. They say you're crazy.
You do this, yeah. And now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting. There's all this shit that's coming.
50, you can't make jokes about it.
No.
The internet might come for you, bro.
All I'm saying
it might come from you.
You see it now. All of these complaints. People were damn. They were and pillaged. This was what was going on, right? And what do I get for I went through years of a hater. You're a hater. You want this and that. I'm just watching. Like I look at things and go, when you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay, I go, oh shoot. He just wasn't actively being out there because they was dealing with that.
Wait, do you think there's truth to the Jay thing? There's no way.
Like that. Look, like if you say. I have this thing where I'm conflicted when it takes you 20 years to remember something happened to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I go, so 10 years, 20 years later, that comes back. And it's like all of Puff's problems are coming from the ministers touching little boys.
What you mean?
The laws are the way they are because
because of the priests.
The priests touching little boys.
Oh. Before the trial, Diddy's influence in Hollywood was undeniable. His star-studded circle of friends showed unwavering loyalty, attending his parties, collaborating on tracks, and publicly defending him whenever whispers of scandal emerged. Rumors were met with silence or dismissal, because no one wanted to jeopardize their careers by speaking out against such a powerful figure. That unbreakable shield shattered on day 3 of the trial. The release of the footage allegedly showing Diddy assaulting Cassie, combined with his visibly unraveling courtroom demeanor, tore through the industry's unspoken code of silence. But the true tipping point was 50 Cent's bold public endorsement of Cassie. By stepping forward, 50 gave others the courage to choose sides openly. An insider close to the industry told me, suddenly, people felt they could support Cassie, without being the first to break the silence. And break it they did. Within hours of 50's courtroom appearance, the celebrity world fractured into distinct camps. Unfollows began immediately. Usher, who had worked closely with Diddy on numerous hits, quietly removed him from his Instagram following. Mary J. Blige, once inseparable from Diddy during the bad boy heyday, did the same. Justin Bieber, who had considered Diddy a mentor early in his career, not only unfollowed him but deleted all shared photos. This wasn't coincidence or random social media activity. It was a calculated distancing. The digital battleground escalated, quickly with stars posting cryptic messages that never mentioned Diddy directly, but left little doubt about their target. Lizzo shared a straightforward "Believe Women" post. The Weeknd posted a black screen with the phrase, "Power doesn't equal truth." And even Drake, who typically avoids drama, posted, "The truth always surfaces eventually." When the courtroom video leaked, some took a more direct stand. Cardi B went live on Instagram saying, "I've seen this kind of behavior in the industry for years. It's time to stop protecting abusers just because they have money." She didn't name Diddy, but everyone knew who she meant. The clearest sign of Diddy's rapid fall was the silence on his end. A member of his management confided that several top-tier celebrities who once answered his calls immediately are now screening him. Since the courtroom drama, he's called Rihanna 6 times with no answer. Similar stories about Beyoncé and Jay-Z declining to support him publicly, despite desperate pleas from Diddy's team, have been circulating in industry circles. Meanwhile, support for Cassie swells daily. Female artists who worked with Diddy are reaching out to her legal team, offering testimony about their own experiences. Celebrities who rarely comment on legal battles are posting messages of solidarity. Lady. Gaga even sent flowers to Cassie's home with a note simply reading, "I believe you." Someone close to Cassie revealed this seismic shift would have been unimaginable just a week ago. Diddy's ironclad hold on the industry made criticism risky. Now the power dynamic has flipped completely. Each day, more celebrities abandon his sinking ship. But the real breaking point was yet to come. As the courtroom drama intensified and evidence stacked against him, Diddy's already fragile composure finally shattered in an explosive outburst that left everyone, judges, lawyers, and witnesses alike, utterly stunned.
This guy trying to get?
I don't know. Like, it's a simple suit situation, but it's like
20 mil. I can say it.
You still have the blackest face out. You still have to mimic his voice because he's like,
but his
damn.
voice wasn't even that different.
And it had a little deeper. I was like, almost like, no, that's you, young buck.
Yo,
I almost felt like it was him. I almost knew who it was. You know what I mean? I was like, nah. You heard what he just said, right? and they would look like he would say stuff, and it's like he wasn't like in the closet. He was like in the hallway. Now you see so much shit that you go, wait. No, this was visible, guys.
He was in the hallway. We saw the video.
You see we saw that video. It comes out later. You're like, that's not the closet. That's the hallway. He didn't give a fuck. Like, you can tell that he was already...
Nah, New York is dope. Because when Fab, he was like, yo, Fab, we ain't party. Fab was like, nah, we partying tonight.
He's like, no, like, but he didn't party.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, they let that one go? Like, I had to say something about it later because I was like, oh, it was...
The final eruption came during Cassie's testimony on day 3. The courtroom was packed, media crowded the back, celebrities scattered through the seats, and 50 Cent remained seated with arms crossed, watching intently. Diddy had been visibly tense all morning. Court clerk Melissa Johnson noticed him whispering more urgently to his attorneys each time, his leg bouncing relentlessly beneath the table, loosening and tightening his tie in a classic display of mounting frustration. Cassie took the stand around 2:30 p.m., speaking clearly and locking eyes with the jury as she recounted a 2019 incident where Diddy allegedly threatened her career after she tried to end their relationship. He said he made me, and he could destroy me just as easily, she testified. Before she finished, Diddy was already shaking his head in denial, his lawyer gently placing a calming hand on his arm. The judge noticed too. Court reporter Damon Williams shared that Judge Harmon scribbled a note and passed it to Diddy's attorney, a clear warning about his client's behavior. The breaking point arrived when Cassie described a 2018 party at Diddy's Hampton estate, where she claimed he locked her in a bedroom for 2 days after seeing her speak with another music executive. Diddy's expression shifted instantly. Eyes wide, jaw clenched, a vein throbbing on his forehead, an unmistakable display of rage captured perfectly by courtroom artists. Suddenly, Diddy snapped. He stood abruptly, his attorney trying to pull him back into his seat, but it was too late. "That's all lies," he shouted, pointing directly at Cassie. "You know what you did?" The courtroom fell silent. Even the court reporter paused mid-typing. Cassie flinched but held her gaze forward. Then Diddy turned his fury toward the back of the room where 50 Cent sat. "And you!" he bellowed, voice cracking with anger. "You'll regret getting involved in this." Security quickly moved in, positioning officers between Diddy and the witness stand. Judge Harmon slammed her gavel 3 times. "Mr. Combs, control yourself in my courtroom," she demanded. "One more outburst, and I will hold you in contempt. Security, remain in place." Diddy's lead counsel rose to request a recess, but the judge cut him off sharply. "Sit down, counsel. We will continue." Spectators were stunned. The man, who built a decades-long reputation as cool and collected, had just publicly lost control. A juror was seen scribbling furiously in her notebook immediately after the outburst, a bad omen for the defense. Through it all, Cassie stayed composed, calmly sipping water and continuing her testimony as if nothing had happened. Her attorney later told reporters this steadiness came from newfound confidence, bolstered by powerful support from figures. Like 50 Cent, speaking of 50, his reaction to Diddy's outburst was a slow, deliberate nod and a slight smile, as if to say, "I'm exactly where I want to be." The courtroom's power balance had shifted dramatically, and Cassie wasn't done sharing her story. Behind closed doors, Diddy's legal team scrambled, their carefully constructed defense portraying him as a calm, reasonable businessman who never harmed anyone lay in ruins. A legal insider revealed they spent the entire night overhauling their strategy, moving away from the perfect gentleman narrative to casting Diddy as passionate but misunderstood. That very morning, Diddy's attorneys filed an urgent motion for a mistrial, accusing 50 Cent's courtroom presence of deliberately provoking their client and creating a prejudicial environment. They attached screenshots of 50's social media posts as evidence of a coordinated campaign to sway the trial. But Judge Harmon was unmoved, denying the motion within hours and stating that Diddy alone was responsible for his conduct. Now, Diddy's team is hurriedly crafting a fallback defense that acknowledges parts of Cassie's claims while disputing others, a stark 180 from their original approach. Meanwhile, Cassie's camp is seizing the moment. Her lead attorney requested the judge allow 3 new witnesses to testify, individuals who had previously declined but stepped forward after witnessing Diddy's breakdown, feeling safer now that his power seems to be slipping. Sources say these include a former security guard and 2 assistants with first-hand accounts of Diddy's behavior. Scent keeps pressing forward too. Since the courtroom incident, he's posted 7 times about the case, each message sharper than the last. His latest showed a split screen of Diddy in court next to the damaging security footage, captioned, "Actions speak louder than lawyers." It racked up over 3 million likes in 6 hours. He's also announced a new documentary series, Music. Industry secrets widely believed to focus on Diddy. Perhaps the most notable change is Cassie herself. Court observers remarked on her transformed demeanor after the outburst. She sat straighter, spoke with renewed confidence. Her attorney confirmed, "My client feels validated. She's finding her voice with every day of this trial." Legal. Experts agree Diddy's courtroom meltdown severely undermined his case. Jury consultant Sarah Matthews explained, "Jurors rely heavily on what they see with their own eyes. They just watched him lose control. That will weigh far more than any testimony." Another analyst noted the jury visibly recoiled after the outburst, several members physically leaning away from Diddy. Outside the courtroom, the fallout has been swift. Shares in Diddy's Revolt Media dropped 14% following the incident. 3 major brands quietly paused their partnerships with his liquor companies. His talent agency reportedly placed his representation under review. Industry insiders estimate he could lose upwards of $200 million in deals, regardless of the trial's outcome. The power dynamic has shifted completely. Once untouchable, Diddy now watches his empire crumble while Cassie gains strength daily. With 50 Cent promising more revelations, this case has become more than just a personal battle. It's threatening to expose secrets the music industry has hidden for decades. The map of power in the industry has been redrawn. Diddy, who once controlled his image and intimidated insiders for decades, now sits on the defensive, watching everything fall apart. Meanwhile, Cassie, once afraid to speak, stands stronger than ever. Backed by unexpected allies and a growing chorus demanding change. No one saw this flip coming. 50 Cent's calculated move turned what should have been an easy victory for Diddy into a public reckoning that grows more volatile every day. This case has shattered silence and opened the floodgates for others to finally confront the untouchables of the music world.